Browns back at it. It is Chargers week. They are seeking their second win in a row and trying to go into the bye week on a positive note. And Jameis Winston will be their starter, of course, against the Chargers on Sunday. And Mary Kay, he will be their starter, barring any unforeseen circumstances for the remainder of the season.
Yes, I asked Kevin Stefanski that today, just to kind of clarify that this wasn't just a week-to-week thing. And he kind of kidded around saying yes, but in football, we are all day to day. But the key takeaway here is that Jameis really is now the starter for the rest of the season, unless something happens where they get to the point where maybe down the road they want to see some more of Dorian Thompson-Robinson. But for now, we don't have to ask this every single week after every single game. Jameis is the guy, and it's going to be a wild ride.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we could get to December, they could be out of it, and they could decide to make a change. But as long as they're still competitive, winning some football games, Ashley, it's going to be Jameis. And this is sort of Kevin's MO. He likes to have stability at that position.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it a lot last year. He was trying to manufacture that stability any way he could as they went through, obviously, 5 different starting quarterbacks last year. And there was a period where he's like, you know what, we're going to stick with P.J. Walker. Until, obviously, after that Seattle game, P.J. Walker throws a crucial interception. And then there wasn't P.J. Walker as the starter anymore. So it makes sense. I mean, when you throw for over 300 yards, obviously he had those picks, those 3 picks that would have been picks if they were not dropped by Ravens players. So something to keep in mind there, but over 300 yards, the AFC Offensive Player of the Week, it makes sense why you just go ahead and name him the starter.
Now, some injury updates. We'll start with Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Of course, he suffered that scary injury on Sunday, stayed at the hospital overnight, was released on Monday, is walking around, seems to be going in the right direction, but he will not play on Sunday, Mary Kay. And of course, look, against this Chargers run game, a physical football team, anytime this defense doesn't have JOK, that's a big loss.
It really is. He is having a career season. He's been playing really, really well, grading out really nicely on Pro Football Focus. They have him as the number 3 Browns defender behind Myles Garrett and Isaiah McGuire. He's been making plays all over the field. He has the only interception, and he's just been doing a really, really nice job. But of course, we are all grateful, as I'm sure all of the fans are, that JOK is fine, that he's walking around, and that he doesn't have any loss of movement anywhere after that scary injury.
Yeah, and Ashley, it's obviously going to be a big ask for someone to step into that role because JOK's versatility, his athleticism, almost plays the game like a running back on the defensive side. You're going to miss that out there.
You are, and I think Jordan Hicks, who they've still had missing some time here, he's probably a question mark going into this game still. We did not see him out at practice today. But Greg Newsome today, since we didn't talk to any of the linebackers, Greg Newsome kind of, I thought, was interesting, mentioned that it's going to have to be by committee, which I think we hear guys on this team use that phrase a lot whenever someone is injured. And I think they're going to really rely on guys like Mahmoud Diabate and Winston Reed, who obviously both filled in on Sunday after JOK left. So going to be some guys who haven't gotten a ton of defensive snaps yet, but both did pretty well when they were called upon against Baltimore.
Now, of course, we're also monitoring the status of Denzel Ward, who suffered his 6th known concussion on Sunday against the Ravens. He did not practice today, but Kevin Stefanski did not go as far as to rule Ward out. Actually spotted him in the locker room today. He did walk through. He obviously can't talk to media right now, but Mary Kay, obviously, the game is one thing. Denzel Ward's long-term health is another, as the Browns kind of try to balance what to do with their star corner.
When he walked through the locker room today, he looked so healthy, so fine. You just had to think that he hasn't suffered the kinds of concussions that, say, like a Tua has, where you really, really worry about his long-term health. I think they have been maybe a little bit more of the milder variety. He suffers some headaches, and I think whenever he has a lingering headache, he gets put into the protocol, but he doesn't seem overly worried about this. Greg Newsome didn't seem worried about it today, so I just have to think that we will see Denzel on the field again sometime pretty soon.
Yeah, the fact that he didn't get ruled out, Ashley, seems to me, it would have been very easy for Kevin to sit up there and say, no, we're just going to rule him out. He's not going to play this week. The fact that he wasn't and that we saw him in the locker room seems to point to the possibility, at least, that he could be back even on Sunday.
Yeah, I think anytime you have a guy in the protocol, it's better to see them around than to not see them at all and really have no idea about what they might be experiencing or how bad their symptoms might be. And we do know that if it is severe enough, they typically are ruled out pretty early in the week. But we do know the last time he suffered a concussion in August, it did take him a couple of weeks to fully clear that 6 or 7 step protocol that the NFL has to return to play. So it's, I think, a good sign that we saw him around the building, but we obviously won't know until later in the week.
And of course, one thing we know is you can't rush the protocol. So like you said, we'll get a better idea Thursday. We'll get a better idea Friday of where Denzel is at. And of course, wherever he's at, we will update it all, as well as everything else at cleveland.com/Browns.